Hello, it's Mary Lou here, and I finally have some journals to share with you. I'm going to show them both to you in this video, just the covers, and then I'm going to do them separately because they're so huge. As you can see, they are chunky little girls. These are the biggest, chunkiest journals I have ever created. I've done them differently than I've done most every journal that I've done. So I'm going to put one aside. I'll put the pink one aside. They are both Jane Austen journals. They are both they're 8.5 tall. Oh, about 6 1/8. About 6 1/8, somewhere in there, wide. They have 3-inch spines. There's the back of that one. I showed you. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 signatures sewn in with a five stitch pamphlet. Pamphlet stitch. Okay. Anyway, here's the front. It's a hardboard. I made it out of chipboard, and this is Red River photo matte paper. It's canvas, so it's a nice cardstock. I've done 2 layers here. I cut this whole section out on another sheet and put it on top just for some more texture. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces of lace on that one, and then the 5th piece wraps around all the way around. Signature eyelets for the closures with Hug Snug seam binding. This one has this beautiful white, or it's kind of an off-white flower with stamen in the center. Underneath, I put a layer of Milner's netting, and I still have a tiny bit of this little sparkly teal, so that's under there too. Okay, let's go into this one, and let's see how far my phone lets me get. Okay, this is the inside. Both of them look like this. There's this journal belongs to. Make sure you can see that and that I'm in frame. Okay. Each one of the signatures is cardstock on the outside. Okay. So here's what we have. Highly decorated, over the top, beautiful pages full of bling and glam and everything that I could throw in. Here there's a little a 3-sheet piece of papers. So a little tablet like that you can pull out and journal in, and it just slides right back in here. You can see there's some beautiful flowers, some pearls, and some little gems. This is I don't know what you call these, but it's got a pretty peak bling there, and there's some more here. So yeah, it's all Mr. Darcy Loves Elizabeth. There's a dream ticket and a love this ticket. And then this just slides right back in with a little coaxing. Easier if you slide it in from the right side. There you go. And then there's some lace behind there as well. Okay, over here we have a pocket of 2 different laces. Eyelets lace. There's a couple of tickets, large tickets there. Then some pretty bling behind there, and like a belly band. There's a ticket with a saying from Jane Austen, and lots of lace. On this side, I've used one of my linens as a backdrop for this page, so there's certainly room to journal there. And then this is an altered ticket, or altered, gosh, I'm having a hard time, altered paper clip, and it clips just on the other side where you don't see it much. Here's some vellum. I used a lot of vellum. I used vellum, I used coffee dyed paper, I used parchment paper, I used lots of cardstock, and other papers that you'll see as we go through. Okay, here's a little pocket. There's Jane over here, and there's lots of lace with a doily and a flowerette and some bling. And this holds a tag. There's your Tiffany stamp. I don't know if I can show it to you here because I'm trying to hold everything together. Here we go. It's blinged out with a die cut that I added and some pearls and a stamp. You open that, and over here are some pages to journal on, several different, and they're from this. I used a lot of different kits in this. There's some fabric across here with some pearls and some netting and lots of trim. There's the center of the first signature, and here is CD envelope. Flip it over. There's 2 tags here, a ticket and a tag, and up here she pulls out and you have a tag in there, a large wide tag. I did some stamping and some stenciling in both of the journals. I'm not going to try to put everything back so I can get through this. It's another pretty page that this is a tuck spot. If you want to tuck something in, you could journal here. And then here is a pocket I created by cutting the paper here. And there's a booklet filled with parchment paper, one of many. On this side of the vellum, I think I did it there too, didn't I? Yes, I forgot to show you. There's some cards in there for you to journal on. And the same here. And the girls, the paper dolls, are all blinged out with, I used, oh, excuse me, my nose is running. I put a doily behind her, and she's got Wink of Stella on her. There is lots and lots of lace in this journal, as you can see. Okay, here's the other side of my linen, one of my linens from my shop. And yes, I cut all the way around it on both sides. Here's a tag. And she is definitely blinged out. I think you can see that. Blings, she's got gems all the way around and even down here, and some pearls. And some lace. On this side, there's a beautiful pocket and lots of lace and flowers and trims. And there's another of the tags. Okay, over here, like I did on the other side, I put in some papers for you to journal on. There's a card, a large journaling card. Everything is inked. All the cards are inked front and back. So there's 4 sheets there to give you journaling space, extra journaling space. And that's the end of the first signature. Okay, here's the second. It says Miss Jane on the front. You open it up. There's a beautiful lady from Regency era and some applique. There's some lace and a pocket here that holds a tag and a card, postcard. And they just tuck into this pocket. And here's another. My dear friend Mary sent me a book filled with Jane Austen sayings, so I shared them with these journals. And over here we have some more pretty papers to journal on, and these are just loose. So I've done it in several different ways. This one is glued. Is this one glued down? I don't know. I don't remember. I have worked on these for months. Yeah, that one's glued down, and these are some 2 or 3 sheets that you can journal on that are free. Okay, free floating. Okay, and over here, there's a corner pocket with a couple of cards in them. There's that one and that one. And I've printed on the parchment paper here, and she's got some Wink of Stella on her. Then on this side is another altered paper clip that just simply slides over here on this side. But what I have here is just different papers that you can journal on. and even on the parchment. And I want to say a big thank you to Jen Bishop from Dreams Etc. I bought a kit from her, a Jane Austen kit, and I watched every journal, every tutorial she had on making Jane journals. So these journals are influenced from how Jen makes her journals. So I was trying to do homage to Jen. Okay, and then there's a printed page. It's printed on Red River, and the lines are on this side. Here's a belly band with a large double tag. I love this. This is one of my favorite pages because I just love these roses. I will be using those again. Okay, here's a double pocket with lace down here. There's a large card. And then here's another little booklet with 4 pages, so that gives you quite a few writing spaces there. And then there's 2 little cards down here. And over here is a large tag that's just stuck up in that little post, or little tuck spot, with some hearts on a string. There's another pocket, and inside the pocket down here is smile and standard diary. Here's an envelope with another bits of parchment paper. If you've never written on parchment paper, and I'm talking about Southworth parchment paper, it's really something to journal in. There's also this card in there, and that holds this shut. So you have another space. I didn't glue the envelope. I hope you can see this. I didn't glue the envelope shut, so that can be your choice if you want to do that. You can journal in there if you prefer, and then seal it up or just leave it as is. Okay. Now let me put those back in the right way. There we go. That other side of that page with more Jane Austen images. Another vellum page, beautiful vellum page, and I stuck a couple of cards in here, upside down. There you go. Definitely Jane. And they just tuck back in here, so they're there for you to journal on, whatever you want to do with them. Okay, here's another side-loading pocket with lots of lace and bling. There's a card, a journaling card. There's a postcard. And then here's another larger little booklet for you to journal in. So you can see, though I've taken up a lot of the space with, decorating the journal, so it is very much a pretty book for one to look at, but it also, I've given you lots of places to journal. Okay, on this side, now this I learned from Gail Agostinelli. And so you flip it over, and on this side, so you see there's a tuck spot here, and this is, I've sewn over some muslin. And then on this side, there's a little tiny pocket filled with little tickets. One says laugh, one says journey, and then there's a little Jane Austen in there, or a little Regency lady. Here's another one of these. And then here is another large book, and I think I need to trade this one out with the other one, so I must have put the same ones. If I could take the time to tell you, I'll leave it out so I remember to put another one in here and switch it out. This started out to be one journal, and then as I saw that it was going to be, even as with a 5-inch spine, it was going to just be too massive to deal with. And so then I decided, okay, I'll make 2 journals, 3 inches spine, and put two signatures in. Well, that didn't lay right. So then I split them up into four sections, 4 different journal signatures, and in the middle, you'll see in a second, I added a bunch more paper. So here's a long full sheet that you can take out and journal on. Isn't that beautiful paper? Love the watercolor paper. And here's another double-sided Jane sayings from her different books. And I love this paper, this cardstock. And there's the other side. Whoops, got to do some gluing. Anyway, here's the pages that I put in the center of the two on each side. So you've got a variety of printed pages, lined pages. If I can get it to open. There's some of these, I don't know if you're going to be able to see them, but it has little dots on it. So like that lets you know where you need to write because you can see the lines. Another printed, another line. So I just varied it all the way through. I will put all the stats. I don't know how to count all the pages in this one because it's so different. But there's the center of that signature. So it just repeats itself on that side. So that's a lot of journaling space. I did put a 1/2 inch between all the signatures, trying to get it as flat as I could. There's another beautiful piece of cardstock with beautiful Jane gowns or Regency gowns. On this side, we have a large tag in this pocket. And it says, "And the story begins." And I love these images. And then you open it up. There's a large pocket here. There's a little tag that flips open. And then there's another spot to journal here. Here's an envelope. Oh, there's that girl again. I just love that image. Can you tell? So there's 2 cards in there for you to journal in. And this is made out of vellum. It just sits right back in there and closes up. On this side, I used a long envelope, and you see I decorated it with an actual page from Persuasion or from a Jane Austen journal, and blinged it up. You can see through the pocket, and you can see a scene there. You flip it over, and then you can pull this large tag out. So that goes in there, all the way over and all the way up. And then there's 2 cards here to journal on. Little pocket there. Over here, this flips open, and here's some more pages that you can journal on. That one's glued down, and this one's just by itself. So, and there's coffee dyed paper. And this is Jen Bishop's mom's coffee dyed paper. Okay, and then here's another side-loading pocket with another booklet and a postcard, and then this circular card. And then this is double-sided. It's the same picture. I just flipped it, and there's more parchment paper. And then here we have what Jen calls an embelly clip. It's on a coffee dyed paper that I did do some stenciling on. It's beautifully coffee dyed. And then this just sits. It's just for pretty, but you can journal here, and of course you can journal back there. And it just slips over the page like that. So on this side, you still have more coffee dyed paper to write on, and this. Okay, and this is the last page for this signature. So there's a pocket here. It's like a belly band, I guess. And then there's a small card with a butterfly on it, and then a journal card slipped into this little pocket, this little envelope. Pride and Prejudice. And you can see it's really, really blinged out. And behind, okay, so my phone quit here. So behind this little envelope and the card in it, there's a large vellum envelope. Isn't it pretty? Lots of roses. And inside are, get myself in there, there you go. There are 3 large cards to journal on, and on the back there's space to journal as well. And then this is Anatomy of a Janeite, and it tells you all about what makes you a Janeite. And I know there are a lot of us out there. I am not the only. Okay, so that just slips back in this little pocket here. It's a big pocket, actually. Then this opens out and I scrunched it. I already had filmed this part, I thought, and my camera quit. So over here, there are several pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces of paper to journal on. Pretty, pretty. And even underneath there, you could if you wanted to, or you could slide something fun back in there. And then in the pocket, there's a little tuck spot here. What would Jane do? And a ticket with Jane, a Regency lady. Then in the second pocket, and this is a 3-layer pocket, there's a scene from one of the books. There's a double tag. And an envelope. And this has, I printed it on parchment, so it does look very aged. And it's some words from one of her from the Persuasion book. I can listen no longer in silence. Anyway, you know the part if you're a Janeite. You know where that's at. Actually, it found it was easier to slide it in backwards. There you go. That goes there. And then up here, there's a couple of large cards that you can journal on. And there's certainly room to put more things, but it's so chunky, I couldn't put anything else in it. So there you go. Okay, that's when I scrunch the papers. Okay, so that's the end of the third. Here's the fourth. Isn't that beautiful paper? I love that one. There's a side-loading pocket here. And there's a Regency period lady and a card from one of the books. There's another envelope, and it has again some writing space on parchment. And this is a large pocket with a sort of a belly band, because when I take that out, you can see it's coffee dyed, and I did emboss it. It's got some pretty roses on it. This lace is tacked here and here and at the back of this large frame that I put a fussy cut Regency lady in, and then these are fussy cut. Some ribbon and bling all over them. There's a large tag, and I put a guest receipt back there to journal on. It'll just slide right back down in here. And then there's a large piece of lined, beautiful paper, and it's printed on parchment paper, so that's nice to write on. On this side, there's some beautiful lace that it was from a wedding dress that I purchased a long time ago, and then there's some more mini sheets of lined paper. If I can get them, there's 2 of the printed ones. And then there's some lined ones. 1, 2, 3 more. So about 5 or 6 sheets in there. And then you do have access to the coffee dyed paper there. And here's a card, the works of Jane Austen, and it tells when her various books were printed. And they were written and printed. This is a large embelly clip. See that you see all the pretty bling that I put on it and trim. Okay, over here, let me get you back in frame. This is a little pocket, and this pulls out. You can journal on that, and it slides back in when I'm not shaking. There you go. Some pretty bling over here and some gems. Turn it over and there's a place to journal there. This is an envelope that I just put in there, and there's a Jane card in there with one of her quotes from her books. And then behind that is a large tag that you can journal on. And it just slides back behind it like a belly band here. There. And then the envelope just slides in on top of that. So, and then here you can see there's several pieces of paper to journal on again, like a little notepad. Open that up. And on this side, there's a large pocket. And in the pocket, I put this dress form and this. This is double-sided, and I lined the other side. There you go. And that slides back into that pocket. So it's just peeking out. And there's some pretty flower over here and some lace. Okay, over here, I did use fabric to reinforce the book in several places just because there's so much weight in this. And even though I did a 5-hole pamphlet stitch, I wanted it to have plenty of durability for you. A lace trim here, a couple of them. And then this flips open. And under here, there's a guest check that you can journal on because it's lined, and it's a heavier duty one. I did some stamping, so there's some coffee rings or glass rings, and then there's a card. I fussy cut the gal's head and put her at the top of that. Then there's several sheets here to journal on again, and these I believe are all printed pages. Yeah, they're all the same page. Yep, and then there's still room under there to journal some more if you want to. And this paper clip kind of makes sure they stay there. We flip it over, and there's a charm with a rose on it. I wanted to put more charms, but I was out of bulb pins, and I didn't have time to order more. So you got two, each book got a charm. There's a pocket here that holds this tag, which I forgot to put some ribbon on, so I will. And then there's a card. And then in here, you can reach into this little pocket here, or this envelope, and there's a pretty lady there. So it serves two purposes. It holds the card, and it holds those things back here. And I'm going to pull that up a little so I'll remember to fix that. More ribbon, more lace. Okay, and then here's another large pocket, and in it is a very large card that you can journal on, and another Jane saying from one of her books. That's in that pocket. And then up here, there's a card that I made into a tag, kind of, I guess. And you can see the back of an embelly clip that I will take off. She's blinged up too, after I turn the page. Okay, here's the embelly clip. It just kind of slides behind this. So you've got journaling space there, and of course there. And then she opens up. There's two flaps. And there's some paper in there to journal on. Just some various papers again. And then she just folds all back up and goes back on that page. And I'm going to just leave it right there for now so I don't have to tie it. There's another side-loading pocket. And in this pocket, if I can get them out here, here we go. There's another saying, a double sayings from some of her books. And then I included, these are from my shop, a couple of these. Oh, something is blooming today. Anyway, they're all lined so you can journal on them. And they just sit right in there. And then that's the last page. And this journal handmade by me, 2019. So that's journal number 1. I will go on and I will finish the other. I'll put the other one on another video. And then you can see them. I'm going to call this Jane number 1, Jane Austen number 1, with all her pretties. And the other one will be Jane number 2, and I'll do that one as soon as I get this one loaded up. Thank you for stopping by. All of the information that you need about both journals will be down below each video. Well, actually, this video will contain this information. This one will contain the information about it. And how to find it. They will both be listed in my on my website. And thanks for taking the time to watch. I know this was long, but as you can see, they are just huge journals. Have a great day. Bye-bye now.